cholesterol is a non-issue. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease. There's a lot of really misinformation about cholesterol. With cholesterol, 80% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from glucose, and 20% of the cholesterol that the body makes is made from fat. You see that equation? It's not the butter on the bread, it's the bread under the butter that's the problem. Now, there are two types of cholesterol, two main types. There's high-density lipoprotein called HDL, and LDL is the low-density lipoprotein. So let me draw a heart vessel here and show you what's happening in the heart. Because HDL and LDL, they're like the maintenance team on the blood vessels in the body. And HDL's role is to carry away excess cholesterol, so it's called the carrier. Whereas LDL, it's the repairer and the rebuilder. That's its role in the body. So when you consider that LDL is the repairer and the rebuilder, where are you going to find LDL? You'll find LDL wherever there's a need for repair, wherever there's a need for rebuilding. So the two different types of cholesterol are high-density lipoprotein, HDL, and low-density lipoprotein. Because of its low density, LDL is always found on the edge of the blood vessel. And because of its high-density lipoprotein is always found in the middle. That's where you'll find the two different types of cholesterol. Now, let's say a person is a smoker. 4,000 chemicals in one cigarette, and that can cause damage in the arterial wall. So the chemicals in cigarettes can cause a hole in the arterial wall. Mercury, it's a neurotoxin. It can cause a hole to be made in the arterial wall. Yeast or mold in the blood can cause a hole to be made in the wall. And if the person's on a high wheat, high sugar, high alcohol diet, feeding the yeast, can you see what's happening? What's going to plug up the hole in the arterial wall? LDL. LDL plugs it up. Remember what LDL is? The repairer and the rebuilder. It'll plug up the hole. That's what it does. Now, what's supposed to happen is the person's supposed to stop smoking, the person's supposed to get out of the mouldy house, the person's supposed to get the mercury fillings out of their mouth, or instead of having tuna and salad for lunch, they have hummus or lentil burgers and salad for lunch. The person's supposed to stop smoking and drinking and high wheat, high sugar. And at the same time, that's a person supposed to be eating highly nourishing food. So where's your fibre? All your plant food, plant-based have fibre, your whole foods. Where's your protein? Your protein is found in your legumes, your lentils, chickpeas, lima beans, tofu, only if it's organic, nuts and seeds. And where's your fats? Your nuts and your seeds, and also your coconut oils, your olive oils. When a person is eating those nutrients, the body can heal the hole. Can you see that? All those nutrients basically are all the building materials that the body needs to heal the hole. And then HDL comes along and takes away the excess cholesterol. Can you see how these two work together in maintaining the arterial wall? And often LDL is blamed as the bad cholesterol. The body doesn't make anything bad. No, they work together in maintaining arterial strength. Because if nothing plugs up the hole, the blood can leak into the tissues and we can die. What an amazing body that God gave us. But do you know what's happening with many people? Many people don't realise what the smoking's doing to them, or the drinking, or the wheat, or the sugar, or the mouldy house, or the mercury fillings in their mouth. Many are sick through ignorance. So they continue. And the person's so busy they don't have time to cook the lentils, and all they've got time for is cereal or the quick sandwich for lunch or the quick pasta 2-minute noodles for tea. And so they don't have the nourishment needed to repair the hole, not just plug it up like LDL, to actually repair it so HDL can be taken away. And so what's happening in the arterial wall? It's building up and up and up and up and up and up. So what's happening in the arteries? It's called atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. When I worked as a psychiatric nurse for 18 months, I worked in the operating theatre, and we would do basic surgical procedures on psych patients. And we did a bypass one day. And when the artery had been taken out, and what do? They actually cut one from the leg here and sew that in the heart. And by the way, that artery wall is not made of strong stuff like this artery, so it's not going to last as long. And the surgeon got the artery that had been cut out, and he got like tweezers, and he started to pull the white gristle out of the artery. And we look at that white gristle and we go, oh, that cholesterol's bad. But do you know what is never addressed? Why is it there? And you know, some people don't have any build-up on their arteries. Why do some do and why do some don't? Newton's third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and an opposite reaction. There is always a reason. And so what people are told, it's the fat. Yeah? It's not the fat. In fact, every muscle, every cell in the body needs fat. The brain is the fattiest organ in the body. About a year ago, Time magazine did an article on fat. Front page of Time magazine, little curl of butter, and it said, "Butter, why we were wrong on the fat." And it was about a 6-page article, and it addressed all the research that had been done or quoted in the 80s, saying fat was bad, showing that all this research was flawed research. It's not the fat. Fat is not the problem. And when someone has a heart attack, or someone has a bit of a build-up and a potential to heart attack, what do they put on? Cholesterol-lowering medication, yeah? Well, your liver is the organ that makes cholesterol. And what this medication does, two of the most popular are Lipitor and Crestor, they block the pathway in the liver that the liver uses to make cholesterol, thus stopping the body making so much cholesterol. But that pathway is also the pathway that the liver uses to make coenzyme Q10. Have you heard of coenzyme Q10? That's your heart protective enzyme. So someone has a heart attack, goes on cholesterol-lowering medication to prevent a heart attack, they can actually be increasing the risk of heart attack. There is no research to show that Crestor and Lipitor prevent heart disease. Did you know that? There's even a book called The Human Cost of Lipitor. Let me tell you the side effects of Lipitor. Muscle wasting, interested? Dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss. And they've added another one to that now, breast cancer, because it's from cholesterol that all our hormones are made. In fact, if cholesterol levels go too low, that person's going to be vitamin D deficient, and there are 2,500 receptor sites on the DNA for vitamin D. Body can't function without vitamin D, and vitamin D is made from cholesterol. Sex and stress hormones can't be made properly if you don't have enough cholesterol. Too low cholesterol is just as dangerous as too high.